R481.6 million rand has been allocated to the Small Enterprise Development Agency to expand the small business incubation program. Now, Gugu Mjadu, the Executive General Manager for Marketing at Business Partners Limited, believes yesterday's budget was a step in the right direction to curb youth unemployment while rewarding employers for creating jobs. He actually joins us now. Before we get into that, good evening, Gugu.
Good evening.
There is this very unfortunate sort of stat that I saw sometime last year where, yes, indeed, small businesses have the potential to create about 70%, probably 75% of total employment. That's what we all seek out for. In South Africa, it's not really the case, according to this study. We are only creating about 30% of employment. Why do you think that's the case? Because it does have potential.
I think the SME sector or even the entrepreneurship sector has got a lot of potential. The issue is South Africa has not been growing. So the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises, are struggling as well. When the economy is struggling, they are struggling. But also you find that a lot of big businesses, particularly when you need to meet like certain deadlines, certain demands from people who've requested you to provide a certain service, they tend to gang up together and work together, which is why we're seeing now the competition bill that came into competition amendment bill, which came into being, because the reality is sometimes you find that big businesses do tend to exclude the small businesses out of the market, and therefore when you look at the supply chain, then small businesses are not benefiting from that. But we've also seen in the country that the infrastructural projects have not been going on as we had planned. I think from 2010 it's been downhill, and for you to be able to support small businesses, you need to develop your infrastructure.
Hence procurement suffers. All right, what do you make of this employment tax now for employees taking on youth and young people? I believe it's going up to 1,000 rand a month for employees who earn up to 4,500. A lot of young people involved in this. I mean, do you think this is going to go a long way to stimulate growth of employment in this sector?
I'd like to believe that the minister, when he looked at that tax incentive, he looked at and said it was introduced in 2014. It's been going well. We need to expand it for another 10 years and see where it takes us. I think the issue of youth unemployment is very critical in this country. And when you support businesses, particularly small businesses, to be able to employ and absorb young people, then you are allowing them to create that needed employment. But what I like the most about getting young people into small businesses, working for small business owners, is that we are exposing them to entrepreneurship, and therefore there's a high chance that they might also explore entrepreneurship, and then they will try to work towards that 70% employment rate that you spoke about earlier, Devin.
So we've got 3.2 billion rand over the medium term in shape of this Small Business and Innovation Fund. Now, how this money is used, that's the one issue. But of course, they still are confronted by the issues of red tape, having problems starting up a business in terms of the administration involved. So on the one hand, you've got money, but you've still got those structural barriers, don't you?
Definitely, and I think what then was quite important from the minister's speech yesterday was that he spoke about how the Department of Small Business Development is going to work on reviewing the policies, reviewing the strategies that the country is implementing, because it doesn't help to have a strategy from 2003 or a bill that talked to small businesses from 2003 when you are confronted with different challenges. So it's quite encouraging that the department will work on those policies, work on the strategies, but the important thing will be to work with different partners, because I think government alone is not there to create the jobs or to make the environment that conducive for business growth. So it's very important that the Small Business Development Department works with other partners as they do this research, because there's a lot of information that's available in South Africa. We just have to pull together so that we then come up with the right strategy for small businesses.
Just a final question before I let you go. I mean, you started off this interview talking to me about how the Competition Commission is addressing the monopolies that we see that suffocate small businesses. Do you think they still can play a bigger role to bring the smaller guys up?
The Competition Commission?
I'm talking about big business.
Big businesses, yes. There's a lot of opportunities when you look at enterprise development, how those big businesses can support enterprise development, supplier development. That's where you can support small businesses. But there's a lot of companies in their supplier development, they also provide grant funding. And that's what entrepreneurs always cry about. Where is the finance so that I can start and grow my business? Particularly those young people who may not even have matric, but they have the ideas. They want to be working. They want to get into active economy, and therefore they need that support.
Gugu, thanks for coming in. That was Gugu Mjadu, the Executive General Manager for Marketing at Business Partners Limited.